Yeah, we did it already. Don, will you run the presentation?
Need
I
to
gotta
do that
find
again.
it first, yeah.
I'm
Give you some room. Keep you away
gonna
from
sit
Peter.
back if I don't want to cough into the microphone.
Okey dokey. That's right. Some notes.
Okay, thank you for your patience. May I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Minutes of the previous meeting. May I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the previous meeting? Ooh,
So moved. Second.
Just a note, I did have those adjusted to add my comments to that. I think Sherry updated our meeting tonight. Is reflected in the minutes. Thank you.
all in favor?
Aye.
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 Communications. Does anyone have any communications to share?
I do have one. Again, it's just a comment from a mother in the district about coming to school when we had snow and also not having school when we didn't have snow. I know it's a hard call, but there are issues either way, so I know we can't win on that as a district. Yeah, result of trying to get subs in and proper subs for the students that we have. It's not always easy, but there's some discussion about that out in the
Which of that?
community.
usually?
Oh, yeah. This one. This
No,
one.
that one. Yeah. Go Sweet Home.
Okay.
And
Anything else?
again, we also have one other thing that I think we all saw, this on-board publication. If you haven't taken a look
Thank
at
you.
it yet,
Mhm.
you really ought to take a look. There's some interesting issues going on. Change of administration. So, okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay,
Amy, I've got one just real quick. We had our DEI meeting yesterday and we have a new parent on the thing. And she actually spoke to the whole team while we were there about being relatively new to Western New York, but how happy she was with Sweet Home. And she actually specifically pointed out, and I talked to her a little bit afterwards too, wanting to thank the board for everything that we did, starting with going all the way back to getting us through COVID and then going forward from there.
very nice. Thank you.
Mhm.
Anything else? Great. Unfinished business. We have none. Dr. Genestri, your turn.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Battaglia. Just a couple updates for the board. We've been working since our last building use committee regarding start and stop times for next year. I think it was a really good meeting last week that gave us that we kept coming back to the fact that we are still in the middle of a driver shortage crisis, I would say, in the district. We are nowhere near fully staffed, and we've been putting a lot of Band-Aids on issues over the past 3 years because of the driver shortage. So as the board knows, we have talked about moving the middle school time to more closely align with the high school time. We do have to add an additional 15 minutes of instructions for each student next year, K through 12 or UPK through 12 across the district. We've been working with Shay to determine what that 15 minutes would look like as far as the instructional time, but we know we have to account for that time as well. So our start and stop times are changing next year. We've been working hard with Scott Kennedy to find the best solution. And then a group of the principals met last Friday to kind of put a framework together. And we've been, again, in talks with Shay to make sure that it is aligned with what we talked about when we were in negotiations. So we expect over the next month to have a proposal for the board that's going to hopefully address some of our transportation issues that we've had, that will address the additional 15 minutes of instruction time for the 25-26 school year. And just, again, appreciate the dialogue back and forth with our principals and with the teachers union to get this work done. So by January, we will have another building use committee meeting before the next study session, and then we'll start rolling out some recommendations to the board in January, giving parents plenty of enough time to plan for next year. So a lot of work going on, but we're confident that we're going to get it done and solutions based. So for next year. I also wanted to bring your attention, as you may have seen over the weekend, the governor, to a little bit of our surprise, we know the bill was on her desk, did sign the maximum temperature in school buildings law, that districts are now required to make adjustments to room environments if the temperature reaches 82 degrees inside the room, and that a classroom cannot be occupied if it reaches 88 degrees. We are very fortunate here at Sweet Home to have our buildings be air conditioned, except for a wing at Dexter Terrace that does house our Ready students. So we'll be coming up with a preliminary plan just to make sure that they're taken care of in case the building does reach that temperature. And then we'll also discuss air conditioning for that wing, as well as we get more into the capital project and planning for the capital project. But this is, like I said, we are very fortunate here, but I don't want to sugarcoat. I do feel bad for our districts that don't have air conditioning, because they'll be coming up with contingency plans to make it work, especially in June. And there are some days in September that are now getting warm as well. And so this did not come with an assurance that districts would get more emergency days, and it did not come with an assurance that districts would get financial aid to help offset the cost of what air conditioning could be, which would around the state would be in the billions by the time it's all said and done. So we knew the bill was on our desk. We did not expect it to be signed, but it was signed over the weekend.
Is this all it encompasses only inside? Did it mention anything about outside, like if the kids playing sports or?
In the buildings.
Just in the.
Yeah, there are guidelines for sports and heat index guidelines that we have to follow, that our coaches are trained on every year. But this was for inside the building.
Mike, does this encompass summer school?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, it would. So,
That's one thing that I
Um,
didn't see.
yeah. I don't know, maybe it's an opportunity for Sweet Home during summer school to make some revenue and rent out to other locations. I'm willing, if the board is willing to enter into discussions with our neighbors about possibly using our rooms during exam weeks, for example. What happens if it's a very hot day during a Regents exam? Are they going to cancel the Regents exam? Maybe there's an opportunity for other that we could share some space, because we are very, very fortunate here to have air conditioning.
Is there a time where we have to have ready?
We have to have a plan in place for this summer. I mean, for this
So
June.
that soon we have
Yes.
to,
Yes.
So this is an immediate
Yeah.
thing.
Now there's 40 kids over there. We could accommodate them here,
of course,
which would,
contingency plan like that.
yes. But this is something we'll have to consider in the next building project for sure.
Mrs. Jason, what I will say is half of that building, BOCES half
It's air
is air
Right.
conditioned.
Yep.
So that building,
Could probably move.
the unair conditioned portion, our portion of the building, generally reaps the benefits of the air conditioning from the other side. So it might not be cool, but I don't
It's
think
not
that
gonna
we'll
hit
have an
88
issue about
or-
88
Right, okay.
from that standpoint.
Dr. Jester, just one quick thing. This reminded me, we talked about the governor signing last week. I brought up that one of the bills that she also had on her desk was for the bus payback on the zero emission buses. And she did sign the bill lowering it from 12 years. I'm sure you guys already saw that too.
Yep.
Lowering it from 12 years to 8 years on the payback.
Yes, yes. So, yeah, that's gonna be interesting. I have a superintendent's meeting on Thursday. No pun intended, but that'll be the hot topic of the meeting, I'm sure. Sorry.
Brian's not here. You need a dad joke.
We have launched our official logo, Panther logo contest. We sent out lots of communication to the buildings and via social media this week regarding the contest. Whoever's logo option is picked, there's a $500 scholarship waiting for them that they will receive during their senior year. Again, want to thank our art department for their willingness to help. They're gonna hopefully get a lot of submissions, and the kids will get to vote on their favorite submission per building. And then we'll get the top 10 and we'll have it ready for budget vote day in May. So kind of exciting, and hopefully the community, I expect the community to rally around this. There's a lot of motion tied to the Panther, but to get everybody to have a say in what it will be, I think was very important. So we're excited, and want to thank our partnership with 26 Shirts. It looks like we're going to partner with them on the graphic art side to help us clean up that's a bad term for it, but to kind of professionalize it. So it is logo ready and be able to use throughout the district. So we're
Are there
excited.
any early candidates? Are you seeing anything coming out that,
Not yet.
Getting
No,
it.
no.
Okay.
Just launched it this week. So yeah, it's going to be exciting to see what the kids come up with and how we can,
it's interesting?
yeah.
All right.
Be fun.
Just a reminder, I said this last week, but we're excited. Music Fest is back February 2nd, University of Buffalo, 12:30 to 4:15. K through 12, music showcase. So we are super excited and to have it at UB in a great space with plenty of seating. I think was important for our community, so they could be there all day. So February 2nd, 12:30 to 4:15.
They can accommodate that. We used to run it in the
Mhm.
gymnasium.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then finally, we just want to say happy holidays to our entire Sweet Home community. The last day of classes is this Friday, the 20th, and we'll resume classes on Thursday, January 2nd, and hope everybody has a safe, wonderful holiday with family and friends. And everybody gets to, I know the holidays are a very busy season, but hopefully everybody gets some R&R as well during that time. And doors will be ready and open on January 2nd to have everybody back. That's what I got tonight. There's any questions? All right, thank you, everybody.
All right. Thanks so much. Okay, let's see. Upcoming events. We have break, and then when we return from break, it's the PTAs, and we have a few more concerts between now and then one right after break. Brings us to our first open session per policy 1510. This open session is for topics related to tonight's agenda. Is anyone interested in speaking? Okay, new business. May I have a motion and a second to approve consent agenda on items A through F?
So moved.
Second.
All right, that's A is special education.
Wait, I always have to stop there to say something because, well, we had it wasn't as lengthy this year, but I would be remiss again if I didn't thank all our special ed teachers and the efforts that went into these sessions with our families. They just do such a tremendous job, and they just awe me every time I read through them. We're still continue to get new students into our district every time I read it, and they just go above and beyond to make sure our kids are taken care of in that department. So thank you to our special ed department.
Okay, monthly financial reports. C is the capital outlay project. D is revised policy for the first reading.
Just with the policies, we are recommending that Brian and I sit on the committee to delete 4 out of the 6, and it's bringing the manual down. Everything that's in those things is covered elsewhere or already covered in laws, so it's not something we need to maintain those policies.
Okay, good to know. E is the charter agreements with the 2 Boy Scout, Cub Scout packs. And F is the resolution to appoint a physician under education law, 913. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Sustained? All right. That brings us to informational items. Maisha, would you like to start?
Okay. This month, student government has been mainly focused on working on several proposals for long-term initiatives in the school that we hope to implement after the break. One of our main priorities this year was to open up the fitness center for students so they could use it during the school day. Currently, it's open after schools on Fridays, and we hope to extend that. Just prior to Thanksgiving break, we met with Mr. Murphy, and he explained how this was done in years past, and he offered a lot of ideas to help make it happen again. Having the fitness center open throughout the school day would be very useful for students. It'll help boost productivity during study halls if they have no work to do, or people who have early dismissal but have practice after school. It would be convenient for people who want to exercise but don't have transportation after school, or don't have the equipment at home, and it would overall boost physical, emotional, and mental health. And to make sure the fitness center is being used appropriately, we hope to implement a pass system. And after the break, we'll meet with Mr. Scumo to finalize staffing, and then work with Mr. Baker to implement the plan. And we hope to prioritize first periods 1 and 9, and then work our way throughout the lunch periods. Something else we're working on is reopening up the school store. We're working with the business department. Mrs. Chubb has begun visiting other schools to help get a better understanding of how their schools stores operate, and we're using those insights to shape ours in the best way possible. Our goals is for the proceeds from the school to be equally distributed among the class cohorts. For now, the teachers are taking charge and managing the logistics, scheduling operations and setup, and then hopefully student government can chip in and then decide what to sell and refine other small details to make sure we launch the school store as smoothly as possible after the break. And last month, the high school's Leader in Me program reintroduced the 7 habits throughout a video presentation during morning announcements. And there's a poster contest encouraging students to share their strategies for how to stay organized, and we'll pick a winner the end of the week. And we hope to implement these videos and highlight a new habit each month with similar contests and activities. And lastly, we're beginning to plan a school-wide movie night to start off the new year. We're going to send out a survey to gather input before finalizing the details, and we hope that it'll be a strong way to start off the new year, and it'd be a fun way to bring the student body together. And that's it.
Great. Sounds like you're busy. Thank you.
And I also, I'm sorry for interrupting,
No.
but thank Maisha and student government again for helping us with the caps and gowns. We presented last night to the DEI committee and got the green light to move forward with the blue and a gold stripe. So
Nice.
thank you again for helping us there.
Aisha, what was the survey, last thing you were talking about? Survey for what?
We want to do a movie night for the school just to start off the new year in a fun way. And before we do that, we want to send out a survey to see how many people would actually be interested, to see if we should have it like in the auditorium and make it throughout like all grades all together, or we should just do it separately in a few classrooms for each grade separately.
Very nice, thank you.
Marian?
And I just want to add to what we were talking about with sending the graduation gowns. If you look at the whole process, that's exactly how it should work, where the whole student body came together and really were able to voice their opinions. So thank you for heading that up. Just a couple of things Dirk had mentioned in the on board. One of the articles is how to have a successful budget season. And number 1 was review district goals and priorities. So, which we're going to be doing, right? So, and when are we going to start budget?
Budget season starts really January 1st. I think we'll get a date on the calendar for our workshop.
Okay, January,
this week.
February?
Yeah, we
February.
generally do it it's always been the
First
first
week of
Saturday
February.
February,
Yeah. Okay.
So
Someone also gave me, they attended the senior high area all-state concert out in Fredonia. We had a good representation there, and thank you to our music teachers for all the work they do with that. And lastly, in our newsletters, Maplemere was mentioned they were named to US News and World Report Best Schools list. Best Elementary School by US News and World Report. This recognition places Maplemere in the top 4% of elementary schools in the nation. So congratulations to them. Thank you.
Very nice. Mr. Johnson.
I have a really long list and I'm not going to tell you any of them until next week, except one.
I'm not
Two,
gonna
well,
be
yeah,
here
next year, excuse me. Yeah, next year. Just today, I got, as the board rep to the Sweet Home Education Foundation, every once in a while I get asked to do some stuff. And today I got a message from Lisa asking me to go pick up a donation. A group, Western New York Heroes, had a carload of backpacks. I think there's about 75 filled with school supplies.
Wow.
You see, Mike, I've got that CRV out there. It filled the back of it, floor to ceiling,
Nice.
and filled my back seat. And actually, it was down about that far off my tires. They'd be a little concerned, but. And then I reached out to Don, who got Dave from maintenance to come and give me a hand getting them in the building once they were here. So I was real happy. It was a great donation from him. I thanked him over, and I'm sure Lisa will again from the Education Foundation.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for
Mhm.
that. And the rest you said you're going to wait for?
Yes.
Thank you. And I appreciate that. Mr. Ravenhall.
Well, I was missing an action for the Heritage Heights meeting on the whatever it was, December 1st, 2nd, 3rd. It had nothing to do with them. It had a lot to do with me. I got meetings crossed again. I'm back on another meeting. Not seeing notices that come from Heritage Heights. I did post the meetings. They do an incredible job there, getting people involved and building the PTA and promoting their various functions. Mary, whatever this is here, but today was the last day for that. You call
The Merry Moose.
Very much.
It is a holiday shop for kids so they can shop for gifts for their families.
That's all I have.
All right.
By the way, I did see that Maple Mere thing, and what came to mind was Maple Mere has some of the pendants. We have a lot of kids in that building.
Mhm.
Amazing what they can do when they get more kids squeeze in there. So congratulations.
Thank you. Danny?
Speaking of Mary Moose, I got to go work at Glendale Mary Moose last week. It was adorable. It tested my basic math skills that I haven't used in a long time, which was a little stressful. But we had a really great time. Their PTA is amazing. Just thanks to the bus drivers and all of the transportation folks for getting kids to school safely and back during the snow that we did have. I know that's incredibly stressful and we appreciate you. And that's really it.
Okay, thanks so much. Mr. Belanti?
Let's see, I attended the 8th grade band concert last week. The building use committee that Dr. Genestri referred to in his presentation. And then 2 chef events, the faculty basketball game and the meat raffle. So both did very
How much
well.
did the meat raffle, how much should they make?
Meat raffle Dollars for Scholars made about $5,600.
Nice,
And the chef basketball game about $5,800.
nice.
Nice.
And then I just wanted to, I know our fall sports season is wrapping up and our teams are having banquets and stuff. So just wanted to congratulate all of our postseason award winners and scholar athletes that we had. I know we had a bunch of scholar athletes. So congratulations to all of them.
I just got the list about 2 hours ago of teams and athletes that are
Okay.
statewide.
Do we
Scholar
still
list.
recognize those folks? Do they come through here and we still recognize them at meetings?
We haven't done it in a while, but we should.
Yeah.
We haven't done it since COVID because it was hard to have a lot of people in here, but we could definitely bring it back.
That'd be great, I
Okay.
think. Peter?
Mhm.
Okay.
I agree.
All right, and from me, I haven't had much, so I will just move on. That brings us to our next open session. Would anyone like to address the board? You have 3 minutes. Please state your name, address, and relationship to Sweet Home.
Green means on, right?
Yep.
My name is Peter Hoysick. I live on Millwood Drive in the town of Tonawanda. Last time I was here, one of the big topics I brought up was firing the superintendent. And he's still here, so you haven't done that. I outlined the reasons why. and you didn't listen. So I came first to give you another reason. I don't know if anyone's on nextdoor.com. It's a social media website. They're tearing this school district apart. They say the middle school is a war zone. I don't know if you're aware of that. You might want to get on there and find out why they're complaining. It has to do with a student that was, I'm not even sure what happened to them, but the family claims that this district was very irresponsible in how the whole incident was handled. All right, anyway, let's get back to something that I talked about the last time I was here. School buses, electric buses. Did you buy any of those yet?
We have 3,
You have 3.
kind of.
Yeah, when are you going to tell the residents the cost of the charging infrastructure? Because I mean, I was here last spring when you guys voted on this and no one mentioned anything about how expensive this charging infrastructure is. Are you going to tell the residents?
We're not really able to speak back when you ask us a question, but we have discussed it on the floor, yes.
All right, because I mean, the bills, Erie County are building a stadium. This was supposed to cost $1 billion and now it's going to cost $2 billion. You guys, I'm assuming, hired a consultant and they concluded that the infrastructure charging installation was going to cost between 10 and $11 million. So that's probably going to double. Are you going to tell the residents that?
I don't remember ever hearing a number that high for this.
I read this before I came to the meeting. Wendell, did you hire them? Did you pay them? What they charge this district for this report?
We can't respond to
Yeah,
these
it's-
questions. Please email them to us and we'll try and get you some answers.
All right, anyway, I don't know what. You mentioned you bought 3 buses, maybe. I don't know what that means. But this consultant report from this Wendell company said there's a temporary charging phase to the installation, which is temporary, and that costs $1 million alone. The batteries on these buses cost $50,000 to replace, according to this report. And this report's based on calculations and assumptions. These aren't even definite. The comments that the consultant that you guys hired, they're just making calculations based on assumptions when they give you these numbers. For example, they're saying it'll take 36 hours to fully charge a Thomas-built Jolie bus. I don't know what that is. And alternatively, there's another plan which has a lot of disadvantages, one of which is they recommend maybe using one charging device with multiple buses, but if it fails, then there's 2 buses that don't get charged. There's also the issue of National Grid being involved in this. I guess the electric grid can't handle what you guys want to install on the campus so that you can charge these buses. And I don't know when that's going to take place. I don't know what that's going to cost. Then this consultant recommends that you guys are going to have to maintain this charging infrastructure. They recommend that you're going to have to probably you're going to train everyone, or you're going to have to hire somebody. Have the residents been told about these costs? Did anybody read this? You really seriously can't answer me when I ask you questions? That's just ridiculous.
Part of the policy. And if you could wrap it up, your 3 minutes is up.
All right. And just to wrap it up, there's these cost estimates, according to the consultant you hired, they were giving the best case scenarios. There's a worst case. The residents need to know this. This is millions and millions of dollars, and it hasn't even started yet. Thanks.
Thank you. Is there anybody else? Okay, seeing none, moving on. May I have a motion and a second on personnel 1, teaching and administrative, and 2, service?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
May I have a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting? We will not be returning.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you and have a happy holiday.
Yeah, sorry.
You refer him.
Oh, yeah.
We told them the email. We told them the email. I was,
You missed it.